Hello there, and welcome to Three Spoonies. We're your hosts, Karen, Jo, and Claire. This is episode number 49.5, and we're discussing flexible schedules at work. Let's get into some questions.
Have you ever had that moment when you realise you're not difficult, you're just different? For so many late-diagnosed neurodivergent adults, life up until now has felt like trying to read a map that wasn't drawn for you. At work, at home, even within yourself, the misunderstandings can be exhausting. At Outside the Box, Neurodiverse Coaching and Mentoring, we believe your difference is your brilliance. Our mission is simple: to help you understand yourself, be understood by others, and finally feel supported in the way you need. To get started, download your free Support Needs Wheel, a gentle tool to help you explain what supports you to thrive.
Hello, I'm Karen from Pony Pony Pony.
And I'm Jo from Bright Cat Business Solutions.
Claire from Black Veil Stationery.
And together, we're Three Spoonies navigating our way through life and business with not enough spoons. So this week, it's our community questions on flexible scheduling. So I'm going to pass over to Claire. Whoosh!
So we have 3 questions this week, and our first one is from Kat, who says, my main client lives in a different time zone to me, so we don't have many options for times we can both meet. Early afternoon for me works for her as well, but I find I don't generally get anything useful done first. Is there a better way to approach things since we can't really change it?
She's saying she doesn't get anything useful done before the early afternoon.
My suggestion would be have a set time that you work in the morning.
Yeah.
Maybe adjust like your lunch break or your bit of time off and then get back into it.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm not sure.
Depending on how you work, make that early afternoon the start of your work day, or use
Well,
it
that could work.
work on a different client stuff during that. So then you've got to switch to a new client. I mean, I'm guessing it's also part of the waiting thing. You're waiting for that meeting.
Yeah.
Or have mornings to work on your own stuff. Like I say, just start work at that meeting. Just your full day.
Yeah, I quite like Claire's idea of having a lunch break before the meeting. So it's happening after lunch as opposed to there's something happening in the afternoon. And if something's happening after lunch, then things can happen before lunch a bit more easily.
It also makes sure, because I know what it's like working from home, especially working from home sometimes, we will work through lunch or we'll forget to have lunch. And it's like, so it kind of gives you that bit of decompressing time to kind of get refreshed and get in the right headspace.
Yeah, and that's really helpful. And yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot you can do. Like you said, if that's the only time that matches up, you kind of have to go with that. It also depends how often it is. If it's sort of once a month, you can't necessarily get into a routine with it. Whereas if it's a bit more frequent, then that can be like, oh, that's what happens on Tuesdays or wherever it is.
I'd say if it's something like once a month, that's your morning off. If it is
Yeah.
more frequent, that becomes an issue. But yeah, then you've got to split it. But having a lunch break beforehand might help.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, at least we found a few answers for that one. So our next question from Ethan is, I don't want to work at the weekends, but I also can't do 4 days. What is a good way to split things up nicely? I mean, I know I never wanted to work weekends because I worked so many in retail, but I do find some weekends I get a little bits done when I've got some time to myself or work in the evenings.
Yeah, I never intended to work weekends, but I do because things need doing. If you really, I mean, you could always just choose how many hours a day you're working if you can't work full days and just spread that across the week. And if you can, then take weekends off. Or if you can, split your day. If you can then, like, if you've got a big break in the middle, can you do more? And therefore get your weekends back.
Well, it's also, I think we're all sort of very pre-programmed for, 9 to 5, 36 hours or whatever. And that's not necessarily the most productive way to do things anyway. It's like all these studies have shown that working 4 days is no less productive than working 5. So it may be that you don't need to do weekends. It's that thing if you know you've got 3 hours to perform a task and it's only going to take you an hour, part of you will go, oh, well, I'll just derp around a bit and do it really slowly. It might be focusing more on things means you can do them quickly, because if you've got it in the back of your head, oh, well, I could do this on Saturday or Sunday, you maybe don't focus on it quite as much as you would. So it could be possible to not do weekends if you keep things nice and focused. And if you're the sort of person who likes to block out time, then for each task that could potentially work. But yeah, definitely break things up as works for you. You know, if you're a morning person, maybe getting started early will help. Have a break when you need. But also I really like sort of Pomodoros, sort of working for 25 minutes and taking a 5-minute break. Because I tend towards sort of doing the hyper focus thing where it's 6 hours later and you haven't had a drink, and yeah, it's great you got it done and you got into that flow state, but maybe your body's not thanking you for it. So yeah, take as many breaks as you need, and it's better to take a break and then go back to it and be productive rather than try and force yourself through doing a full day or a half day or something when you're not up to it. And yeah, you've kept working, but everything took longer than it needed to. It was a lot more miserable than it needed to be, and you would have been better off just having the break and coming back.
It's also the thing of, is it, I should be working this many hours, and I can't do it in full days, therefore I need to work weekends. No, there's nothing to say you need to work that many hours, unless you've actually got the work in, and reduce them. Do what you can.
Yeah, make
No
it
one
work
says,
around you.
yeah, no one says you have to work like 37.5 hours.
Okay, so our last question is from Mindy, and I can relate to this, and Karen mentioned it briefly on the last question answer. Sometimes I get hyper focused and work into the evening, but I pay for it the next day. Is there a better way to get things done?
Yeah, but
Pomodoro.
we don't do it.
We're all guilty of this, every single
Yeah,
one.
we are.
Yeah, we've all been guilty of being hyper focused, working throughout the day, not having lunch, drink breaks.
I do have drink breaks. I carry it with me. It's always there.
I mean, I do, but mine is actually empty. I will be filling it up after this. I'm like, get me water.
Yeah, I don't. I do forget to eat.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I suppose the problem is how much does it affect you? Is it like you're missing out on medication you need? Is it you've literally not eaten or drunk anything? You know, it might be if you're planning a longer session, have some sort of cut-off point and at least have things to hand, whether that's, I don't know, water or electrolytes or some snacks or something that at least is going to sustain you, and, you know, at least a quick stretch break or look away from the screen, because those can be things if you've been looking at a screen all day and you've been sort of hunched over a laptop, that's not great. And we all know it's not great, but you know, we may
we
have
do it.
Yeah, we all do it.
proof.
I mean, the thing,
Yeah.
I think me was like, Dylan has a set dinner time. He likes to have dinner around 6 o'clock. So I'm always, even if I'm working and I used to get kind of do like a full day and then work into the evening, I'd always have that break between about 5:30 and 6:30, 7, where I'd be like, I'd get dinner done and just kind of sit and relax for a little bit. And then sometimes it'd be like, I can feel the pain kicking in. I know I'm doing too much. Can it actually wait till the next day? Do I have to go and do it now just because I'm kind of in that zone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, if you're the type of person who has a task list and it's like chunk of big task, break it down into smaller tasks and put in between them. Take a break.
Yeah.
Schedule breaks into your calendar if
Yeah.
you're planning your day out on a calendar.
And also that thing, don't necessarily, if you have to stop at a specific time or you're just going to burn out if you don't, try and stop while you're still feeling productive, not when you've got to the end, because then when you restart, it's like, I finished, I don't know, these 3 paragraphs I had to write, but now there's one more and I've got no ideas. So if you stop while you're still in it, and also I find jot down some notes as well. So I'm terrible for having really great ideas and then remembering I had an idea, but I can't remember what it is. So I'll jot down some notes. And when I come back to it, you know, after a lunch break, later that day, the next day, I've got something to start off work with, even if it's only a few bullet points or ideas.
Yeah, that works. I think that is all of it. I don't think I've got any more. I don't have any more answers. My brain doesn't want to work now. So I'm sending this whoosh straight back to Karen. Oh. Sorry about the force there.
Yeah, I know. That's a bit more considerate next time, but, I'll let you off, dear. Thank you for joining us for 3 Spoonies on flexible schedules at work. We'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. Any tips you've got, any handy apps, stickers, anything else, please do share. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe for our weekly podcast and leave us a lovely review. You can also buy us a coffee if you like what we do. Links, as ever, will be in the show notes. We'll see you next week for our next topic, representation in print media. Have a great day and keep track of your spoons.